Hello, I'm Julia Nania from Trinity University, and I work with Nick Younkins and Dr. Emma Treadway to explore the influence of movement frequency on stiffness discrimination. A common approach for quantifying human haptic perception has historically relied on measuring the just noticeable difference, or J&D, between two levels of a property. Weber's law predicts that J&D is proportional to the magnitude of the reference stiffness. Recently, Wei Fu and collaborators proposed a modified Weber's law that can explain masking effects between properties for single frequency interactions with spring mass damper systems. In this work, we sought to understand how stiffness J&Ds predicted at different frequencies might combine when multiple frequencies are excited by the user. Shown here is the frequency response function of a spring rendered through open loop impedance control. Fu's modified Weber's law can be used to predict a stiffness J&D at any frequency. For example, in this case, the J&D is smaller at 2 Hz than at half Hz, as shown by the blue lines. Different stiffnesses shift the frequency response function and alter the predicted J&D at each frequency. An open question is how movements at combinations of frequencies might impact J&D. Would the participant have a J&D close to the better of the two J&Ds, or would there be blending between the J&Ds of the two frequencies? In this study, we explored the question for stiffness J&D with a perceptual experiment based on the methods of adjustments. Participants were asked to move the handle of a 1D haptic device to track different signals at our 4 conditions: 2 single sinusoids and 2 combinations of sinusoids with the majority 2 Hz or half Hz, while simultaneously performing a stiffness matching task. They were able to see a simulating scope displaying the signal to track as well as their own movement. Participants could switch between the reference stiffness and the comparison stiffness, which they were instructed to adjust to match the reference stiffness in each trial using a fader-type linear potentiometer, while simultaneously tracking the presented signal. For each trial, a final comparison stiffness set by the participant was used to calculate the error from the reference stiffness, which would increase with increasing J&D. The errors for each participant are shown here, with each condition shown in a different color. The condition average across all 3 trials is connected by the solid lines. It can be seen that the single half Hz condition errors in red were significantly higher than the single 2 Hz errors in blue and the dual majority 2 Hz errors in green. Of course, participants do not always track perfectly. In order to account for the influence of these deviations, we examined the stiffness error in relation to the actual ratio that participants achieved between a half Hz and 2 Hz sinusoids throughout each trial. The absolute error is shown plotted against the ratio of movement signal power at half Hz to the combined power at half Hz and 2 Hz, with each participant shown in a different color. A linear fit to each participant's data found a positive slope for all but one participant, suggesting that as more of the half Hz signal was introduced into the movements, the identification error increased, meaning the introduction of a slow frequency made it more difficult for the participant to discern the virtual spring stiffness. Our results suggest that stiffness J&D during multi-frequency movement varies continuously, blending between the 2 single frequency thresholds.